Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Patricia Chikanda and today's episode is story time, and basically we'll be talking about my experiences in studying law. We're going to talk about mental breakdown, depression, anxiety, headaches, anything you can think of that comes with studying law. Trust me, it's not a lie. You will go through the most, you will go through hell, but reality is the pain in studying law is temporary, but the law degree is forever. So once you know that, you can pull through any kind of trial and tribulation. Anyway, so where do I start? Yeah, my first time realizing that law wasn't a game was my first day in class. With this particular incident, what happened is that I had enrolled in uni late. So I came to university 2 weeks into the semester because of study visa issues and stuff like that. So on my first day, remember it was a Friday, I got to class and the lecturer was in front and was like, so guys, remember that your online assignment is due tonight. I was like, okay, so what's going to happen with me? So after class, I went to him and I was like, Sam, this is my situation. I only got enrolled this morning, and that lady was helping me out, only showed me my timetable. And today I had this lecture and she advised that I come so that I don't fall behind. So that's why I came. But technically, I know nothing. And I was like, no, I understand your situation. It's okay. But unfortunately, I do not control the online systems. Had it been an assignment you write on paper, I would have asked you to hand it in at least on Monday. But it's an online thing. You have no control over it. However, I'll help you by giving you the scope for the test. It's not that hard. It's only 10 pages. You'll be fine. And I was like, okay, chilled. He gives me the scope. I go back to Res and asked some seniors to help me with my online assignment, basically how to log on and stuff like, because I had no idea. I knew nothing. And that was it. And for me, that was like, okay, what a welcome to university. Like, it just kicked in there and there that university was the real deal. Like, it was gonna be a serious journey. So that was my first time of realizing that studying law is not a child's play. But I don't want to lie, I don't think it's just about studying law. I think going to school on its own is difficult. Being exposed to new things that we have no idea about is just difficult. But you soldier until you make it. My experience went on when I was in second year, so we had to choose electives, whether you do criminology as an elective or you do accounting. Knowing myself in high school, I always tried to find something so challenging. I just believed that I was intelligent, so I went on and chose to do accounting. Woo! Shout out to all accounting students. You guys are the real bosses. You know, you go through the most. That accounting module was one of the toughest things I had to do. I think it was the first toughest module I did. But anyway, the girl pulled through. However, I won't lie. I will not lie. I remember when I was studying for my accounting test, I also had to study for labor law. Labor law, the textbook was this thick. It was huge. And the difficult thing with labor law is that, not with labor law, with anything basically in law, it's not about knowing this part of the topic. You had to know everything, and you had to know every point of those things in all sections and everything. So you can imagine I was writing accounting on a Saturday at 11:30, and on Monday at 8 I had labor law. And both of these modules were no child's play. So I prepared the entire week because my thing, I cannot multitask or focus. I don't know what to call it, but if I have as okay, then I had not mastered or adapted to university being real. So I couldn't study two things at the same time. I have to do this, get it done, then move on to the next. So for the entire week, I was preparing for accounting. And only after accounting on Saturday afternoon was when I got time to study for labor law. Guys, it was bad. So anyway, I went and wrote my accounting, came back to where I was at, and then went to the library. Spent the whole Saturday in the library, came back. Sunday, I was studying in my room. I remember in my room, I was sitting on my desk, and literally, I just went like, and started crying. Like, I remember that was the first time I cried because of a module. Little did I know this was just the beginning. I thought, okay, we've hit rock bottom now. So anything after this, I'll be able to cope. So yeah, man, I cried but anyway, who cares that you're crying? No one. Because one thing I knew, there was never going to be a point in time where people would ask me that, so what happened here? They will never offer me an opportunity to explain that I had mental breakdowns, I had anxiety, I had depression. No one cares. People only care about the qualification. How it came about, there's no time to explain that. You just have to produce your papers. So I understood my crying wasn't going to bring any change. But it got so serious. I don't lie. People would think it's a lie. It got so serious that you would go through the most difficult things, studying and all that, and you actually set time to cry. Like literally, I remember with my first mental breakdown, I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. I was like, I'm good, then started studying. Later on during the years when it became so difficult, you'd literally make time to cry because you cannot you cannot spend the entire day in your feelings because you have to push. So you'd make sure that, okay, you understand it's difficult, study. When you take your break, that's when you go to the bathroom and you'll be like, is this even worth? And you'll be like, okay, now girl, let's cry. After this, we pull ourselves together and go back and study. I don't know how many times I did that, but yeah, that would help me because I didn't have the luxury of being in my feelings for too long. If I'm crying, it has to be a maximum of 5 minutes. That's it. And I go back and study. But that was my first mental breakdown. Later on, as we were going, because I'll be going through the most on my own, crying and do that, and crying and all that. But when I show face to the public, it'll be like, you're the boss, I'm doing this. So it has always been my thing that I want to be strong, you understand? Then there was the anxiety attacks. I personally, I didn't want to conform to the trend because at that point in time, everyone will be posting on their status, anxiety, depression and stuff like that. And to me, some of these people weren't really going through this. It was just them being so scared. I don't want to judge, but I just found out I didn't want to misuse the term when I wasn't sure if I had anxiety or what. So I always try to ensure that I do not end up saying I have anxiety when it's just me being scared or when it's just me being in my feelings. So I never at one point said I had anxiety. To a point when I actually had anxiety, I still didn't believe it was it. Anyway, when I had when I got an anxiety attack that actually left me paralyzed in the sense that I really couldn't do anything was and this particular semester, I think it was in my 4th year. I can't remember. So anyway, I was studying for civil procedure. So what happened on that particular day? A lot of people had gone home because my faculty would have tests and exams till the very end. We'll be the last ones to leave. So anyway, I remember I was in the library and there were only a few people, probably about 8 in an entire library. I was in level 5, I remember. So as I was sitting, studying on my desk, I remember I couldn't see. And I was like, okay, are my eyes heavy? Am I sleepy? What's happening? Am I dreaming? I couldn't understand what was happening. So I rubbed my eyes and opened my eyes. I knew I'm opening my eyes. My eyes are open. But when I looked at the textbook, it was blank. The entire page was just plain white. And I was like, okay, this is some joke. So I rubbed them again. Same thing happened. And now I'm getting afraid. Then I had short of breath. So I'm failing to breathe properly. And there's no one to tell I'm in the library. But the girl was sitting next to me noticed. So she came over and she's like, hey, are you okay? Like, I can't breathe. Like, I couldn't even talk. And then she's like, okay, here's some water. Just relax, take a moment, and I'll take you to rest. And I was like, okay, thanks. I took the water, I drank some water, and I gave it back. I was like, just give me a few minutes, I'll be fine. So she went and sat back. I opened that book again. I'm trying to study. My mind is just messed up and all that. I just couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, Patricia, at some point you need to accept that it's difficult. It's difficult. You have no control of it. It was difficult. I don't know how many exams I had written. And all of them were tough. Like, law is tough, guys. To say law is difficult, I think it's an understatement. Law is beyond difficult. It's beyond, it's hard. It's really hard. So anyway, I looked at my book. I was like, okay, you're not capable of doing this tonight. Go and get some rest and make a plan tomorrow morning. I remember walking out of the library feeling like the worst person ever. I felt like such a failure. It was bad. It was really bad. I went to rest, and with me always when I'd go to the library, I'd study and study and study. Take a break, and then go back to res. When I get to res, I'll probably shower or get a snack, then just do short revision, then go to bed. That particular day I just got to res and I got into my bed. I felt so horrible. Like, the thought of it that I was putting myself under so much pressure because I wanted to make it so bad. Because the thing is, most of the times with difficult modules, what would help me is to read the entire textbook. At least then, when it comes to other questions, I could just generalize. I remember for that exam, right? The scope was from page 100 to page 500. And I'd only read from page 1 to page 125. So chances of me making it were really slim. And here I was, going back to res, knowing that at least if I pushed to at least 300 something pages, I'd have something to write in the exam. But then I couldn't do it. So I went to res and I slept. As if that wasn't so bad, I remember waking up in the morning. I woke up some minutes before 7 and my exam was at 8. So I woke up. When I woke up, I couldn't get out of bed. My body was just shut. I couldn't move even a finger. Like, my blankets felt so heavy. I just couldn't move. And the only thing I was praying for is to grab my phone from my bedside and call someone to come help me. But I still couldn't. So I just sat in my bed crying. You know, I I knew it was over. And I was like, God, no, that's it. That's the end of me. And I've accepted it. So um, a few minutes later on, I'm sure time is moving because I had my watch, one watch in front of me, a wall watch, so I could see the time for the exam, and I was like, okay, that's it, it's over. So you go through the most, you're feeling bad about yourself, you feel like you're the worst person, and then you're also thinking of, so how am I going to explain this to people? You can't just say, oh well, last night I couldn't see. You can't also say I couldn't get out of bed. People will think you just didn't want to, you understand? But it was really difficult, okay? So anyway, I'm still in bed, tears trickling down my cheeks. And then the next thing, my door opened and it was my friend. And then, I need to grab a tissue. So my friend came in and she's like, Pat, I didn't see you in the exam, what happened? That's when I gathered the courage to get out of bed. So I woke up and sat on my bed. And I'm like, what's up? Why didn't you go write? And he's like, no, I went. And I'm like, then why are you here? Because you understand when you write your exams, there's a time period allocated for people not to leave the exam room. And then you can only leave after. So it was, I remember for exams, it was 45 minutes. So it wasn't even 45 minutes into the exam and she was here. I'm like, and then why aren't you in the exam room? He's like, no, I went, but they canceled the exam. Like, what? And yeah, she's like, yeah, they canceled you because of what. I was like, damn, that's something else. I'm like, oh shit, so I probably have another chance to write this exam. So what do I need to do? So anyway, I went to the exam admin board or something like that, and they were like, unfortunately, you cannot apply for a SIC exam here with us because now the situation is being handled by your faculty because of issues going on and stuff like that. So if you want to write it, because they say the only the persons who can write the ad book exam that was going to be set were people who had actually attended that exam that was cancelled, and I had not gone there. So I was like, okay, it's fine. I went back and I was like, my friend accompanied me to the doctor. So I went to the doctor and I explained to him. That's when he was actually like, no, there was an anxiety attack you had. And so he gave me some pills. Some I had to put under my tongue. He was like, whenever you go through the same thing, just put this pill under your tongue and you'll be fine. So I left the doctors and I went to my faculty and I was supposed to meet, I will not say the name because apparently everyone was scared of him. Remember, most students would say he's the most difficult person to deal with and stuff like that. I went there and I knocked by his door and got in, and he didn't even look at me as I was telling my story, and he's like, it's fine, just bring me the phone and you should go write your exam next week. That's when I realized that, you know what, I remember my friend who had came that day, he was like, Pat, somehow, God always has your back. Like, Literally, this is something that has never happened at my university, that they cancel an exam when people are there. It wasn't students striking that the exam is difficult. There was nothing happening. They just canceled the exam. So to some extent, I just believe that it was God's way of saying, yeah, you deserve another chance, and I'm going to have your back. And literally, he had like, I want to deal with the most difficult person in the faculty, and he was nice. He didn't care he didn't even listen to my story. He just said, bring your papers and go write the exam. On top of that, where in life would you have such an experience where an entire exam is cancelled to suit you because you couldn't make it, you were in your room sleeping? So that was with the anxiety attack. So I only got to accept and realize that I had anxiety attacks when the doctor actually told me that what you had is what we call anxiety attacks. And then there was a time with depression. So in my third year, I went through some personal stuff that really traumatized me. What that really traumatized me, I didn't even know how bad they were, because like I said, I'm not one person to accept that such and such is happening. I always believe that no, I have everything under control. Like I barely accept that I'm actually facing difficulties. So after that traumatic experience, my lifestyle started to change. I wouldn't notice it because I didn't even notice that I was changing. But I remember I never went out the entire semester. I didn't want to go out. I stopped going to the gym. That's when I picked up weight a lot, so much. People even thought I was pregnant. I wasn't. I was just eating my stresses out. So with my university, all classes were recorded and they would be uploaded on your blackboard. So for us, those students, there's nothing like a formula on the board. Literally, it's just something from the textbook. So I'll just stay in res and listen to the audio lectures. But I didn't realize it was a mechanism I was adapting to so that I wouldn't be in public. I was so scared of. And at that point, I didn't know I was scared of being in public. But it got so bad to a point where I didn't want to be available during the day. So I had blinds, right? And you know when you close blinds, it'll be dark. I got to a point where I went and bought a curtain, a black curtain, and I hanged it over because I wanted my room to seem as dark as possible. And I would switch off my lights and then put my lamp on during the day, every single day. And yeah, I just thought it was normal. Then time passed. That particular semester, I remember closing day for me and my friend. Every closing day, we would make sure that we go out, chill and stuff like that, say our goodbyes, and we go. So I remember that particular closing day because my bus to go home, because I was studying in Bloemfontein, the buses would only pass by Bloemfontein at night, 12 midnight. So during the day, I chilled and hanged with her. So I remember when we met, I asked her about your roommate, and I'm like, hey girl, what's up with your roommate? Where is she? And then she started telling me about your roommate. So apparently the roommate had been clinically diagnosed with depression. And we are walking, I remember, she's telling me about your roommate and she's describing everything that I was doing, avoiding to go to places, not hanging out with friends, being in a dark room. She literally explained my entire life. And I remember it hurt so bad in my heart because I was always a happy person. If you find me in a group of people, I'll be the one talking the loudest, making jokes and stuff like that. So here I am, someone is explaining my lifestyle, and in explaining that, they're saying that someone who's been clinically diagnosed with depression is living exactly the way I was living. It hit me hard. It hit me so bad. And I didn't want to show to you that I was emotional. Until today, she doesn't know about that. I was so emotional walking with her. Remember, we were going to McDonald's. And I remember walking behind her, pretending I'm sorting something out, but I could still hear her talk because my eyes were just so teary. And I didn't want to confront that topic. So yeah, we had our lunch and she went home and I went back to rest, packed my stuff. Then I got to go home, and I remember when I was in the bus, they switched off the lights, and I was like, thank God, I have to face these difficulties. I just started thinking through my life, everything she was saying about your roommate and everything that I was doing that semester. As I remember, it was so bad. Remember, I missed 2 exams, something that girl, my friend's roommate, had done. And it was so bad, I cried in that bus. I literally cried. I was weeping because just didn't know how I had gotten to that position. Like, this was me, Patricia. I'm the one who would encourage people, let's go to the library, let's study, let's join these organizations, let's do this and that. And here I had not seen at what point in my life did I become an indoors person. At what point in my life did I want to stay in a dark room? At what point in my life did I just want to do nothing and stay in bed? So I got home and I started to do some soul searching and just accepting that, it's something I don't want, but it's probably something that I am in. And then I organized a counseling session with a therapist, and I went, think everyone has to go and consult with a therapist, because I don't want to lie, my life changed a lot. There was a lot of things I had not dealt with in a long time. So I think all the things that I was doing were a result of the fact that there were issues I had not dealt with. So, yeah, man, with studying law comes anxiety, mental breakdowns, depression, migraines, and yeah, there was a point I had migraines, but I don't know if I can blame studying law or not. But the first time, I'd always had headaches since getting to school, and there wasn't a month that wouldn't go by before I go to a doctor to get some medication for my headaches. I remember there was one doctor I went to for, I think, 4 times, until one particular consultation was like, can I ask you something? Like, what? And he's like, do you ever hear sounds in your head? I'm like, what? Are you trying to say I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. I don't hear sound. I'm like, what kind of sound? Like, talking to sounds in your head? I'm like, no, man. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go back to you. You didn't go back to him, because that was just too much for me. Because I wasn't crazy, Anyway, so later on, I started thinking that my headaches were because of witchcraft. You know us, what darky. Because every time I would say I want to study, I would start having headaches. The moment I open my book and concentrate, my head starts aching. And I was like, dang, someone is using juju on me. Like, I was so convinced that it was witchcraft, because I can tell you, The moment I open a book, headaches. So eventually I went to one doctor, okay, my other doctor, because I had two of them. And I explained to him, I was like, no, 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 I think you should go and get checked for eyesight problems. So I went to get my eyes checked. And they were like, okay, you actually were late coming here. You should have gotten glasses a very long time ago. Speaking of which, yeah, I have to be wearing them, but I don't like wearing glasses, but I wear when I'm reading. But I'm supposed to be wearing glasses. So anyway, they did what they did, and then they prescribed me to go and get glasses. And I got glasses. I remember the first time I got them when when I was going to campus. It was at night. I'm an emotional person, first of all, but yeah, I had every reason to cry at that time because I remember I would put them on, look through my glasses, and then look without them. So when I have my glasses on, it looks clear, but when I don't have them, like there's like all the lights, they look as if they're faded. Have you seen the quality of things when it's raining or when it's covered by that plastic of some sort? That's how I see things. So, and I had been seeing things in that way for a long time. I didn't even see it as something wrong. So, to be in a position where I could see properly and realizing that all along I haven't been seeing like everyone else, because I remember I used to tell people that, yo, Bloemfontein looks old. Like, I cannot handle this. The whole time it was just my eyesight deteriorating. So it made me become more emotional because I just couldn't believe the number of years and experiences my eyesight dropped me off. So the explanation of those times when I was thinking of witchcraft and stuff like that, because I was trying to read, that's when my lenses would be adjusted. I would be forcing them to see properly. So it wasn't witchcraft, it was just my eyesight. But anyway, with that being said, you can conquer through anything. You will go through mental breakdowns, depression, anxiety, everything. But like I said, the pain is temporary, but the Lord degree is forever. Anyway, next time we'll continue on this subject on how you can conquer all the trials and tribulations that you face when you're studying law. It is not a myth that studying law is difficult, it's actually a fact. But one thing I can promise you is that it's doable. It is indeed doable. Well, if it was easy, everyone could be doing it. The reason why not everyone is doing it is because it's tough. But you really want it so bad, and if you want, you can do what it takes to make it happen. So that is from me today. Until we tune into the next episode next time. See you. Bye.